Hey everyone, now we have what is arguably Buster Keaton's best known movie, the 1926 comedy, The General. Now, when the people of Marietta, Georgia hear about Fort Sumter being fired on, all the men of age in town go to enlist. Now, one of the first in line is Johnny Gray, Buster Keaton. He is a train engineer for the General, and the men in charge of enlisting believe that he is more useful in that position for the South. However, they do not tell him that, and so his girlfriend, Annabelle Lee, Marion Mack, and her family believe him to be a coward when they don't see him enlisting, since he was one of the first in line and they were much further back in the line and didn't see him. Now, about a year later, Union General Thatcher, Jim Farley, makes plans with one of his spies, Captain Anderson, Glenn Cavender, to sabotage the Confederate railroads. With a small crew, they plan to steal the General and take it north, burning bridges along the way to help cut off the southern supply lines. When the train stops to let everyone off for dinner, the Union soldiers take the train, along with Annabelle Lee, who was looking into her luggage. However, Johnny Gray saw the train being stolen and so immediately took off after it, finding any way he could to keep up with it and keep the spies from burning bridges in the process. Now, of course, once he gets into enemy territory, he has to go into hiding. Ends up hiding in a house that the spies are staying at. It is there that he learns of the Union Army's plans for a surprise attack on the South, and so he tries to escape with Annabelle. They both get on the General and take off, making their way back towards the Confederate Army, with Union soldiers close behind them. Now, for this movie, Buster Keaton decided to borrow from history, making use of an actual event from the American Civil War. And the story had been written as a memoir called The Great Locomotive Chase by Will Pittenger, who was one of the Union soldiers originally involved in the actual raid. Now, Buster wanted things to be as faithful as possible and considered using the original train, which was then on display in Chattanooga, and the original locations. But in all that time, the style of railways had long since been replaced, and the train itself was unavailable since the movie was being planned as a comedy. Still, he was able to make use of 3 antique trains for the movie, and they filmed it in Oregon where some narrow-gauge railroad tracks still remained. And he also borrowed about 500 members of the National Guard to portray both armies. Now, in reading about this movie, I saw that it was originally a flop, at least partly due to its huge budget. I admit watching the movie was a slight shock to me, as it didn't seem as much like a Buster Keaton comedy to me. So my expectations, I kind of expected a bit different, and the laughs didn't come as hard and fast for me as from some of his other films and shorts that I have seen. But all that being said, however, I can see this movie being one of his greats. While he may not have done as many comedic pratfalls and stuff as I would have expected, most of Buster's stunts in this movie were still impressive. Whether it was just sitting on the coupling rods as the train starts up, or all the jumping around he does on the moving train, and he actually did it, to the best of my knowledge, or just so many of the other stunts he did, I'm still very much impressed with what he could do. While the movie may not have its fans nowadays since he plays a hero for the Confederacy, I still have to admire the courage and fortitude of one man trying to go after a train of enemy soldiers all by himself, and coming out of it successfully. Probably in real life, I think it was like a couple people, but it's still impressive. This is a truly wonderful movie, and one I would highly recommend anybody see if they get the chance. Now, the movie is available on Blu-ray and DVD from Cohen Media Group with Steamboat Bill Jr. as part of the Buster Keaton Collection, Volume 1. Now, having been given a recent restoration for this release, this movie now looks fantastic, almost as if it had been filmed yesterday. Well, at least if they were still filming silent movies and in black and white. But certainly makes this release well worth it to see this movie looking so great. Now, the movie itself is about 1 hour and 19 minutes in length. Well, that should be all on this one that I have to say, so thanks for listening, everybody, and I hope you'll keep tuning in for more.